Christianity's journey to becoming the world's most popular religion is one of the most remarkable stories in human history. When we look at how it all began, it's almost impossible to imagine how a small group of followers in an obscure corner of the Roman Empire would eventually spread to every continent on Earth. To truly understand this incredible expansion, we need to go back to the very beginning and trace the path carefully. In the first century, the first major factor in Christianity's spread was the conviction and dedication of the earliest followers. After Jesus' death, his disciples genuinely believed they had witnessed his resurrection. This wasn't just a nice story to them. They were willing to face persecution, imprisonment, torture, and death for this belief. The Apostle Peter was reportedly crucified upside down. Paul was beheaded. James was stoned. These weren't people spreading a message they knew was false. They believed with absolute certainty that they had encountered the risen Christ, and this conviction was contagious. When people saw others willing to die for their faith rather than renounce it, it made them wonder what could inspire such devotion. The message itself, Christianity broke through these limitations. It proclaimed a God who loved humanity so much that he became human himself and died for their sins. Salvation wasn't something you earned through endless rituals or good works. It was a free gift offered to anyone who believed, regardless of their ethnicity, social status, or past sins. This was incredibly appealing to people. A slave could have the same access to God as our emperor. A Gentile could become part of God's family without becoming ethnically Jewish. A prostitute or tax collector could be forgiven and welcomed with open arms. The early Christian, the structure of the Roman Empire itself actually facilitated Christianity's spread in ways that would have been impossible in earlier eras. Rome had built an extensive network of roads connecting the empire, originally for military purposes. These roads made travel safer and easier than ever before. The empire had also established a common language. Greek was spoken throughout the eastern Mediterranean and Latin in the west. This meant that Christian missionaries could travel relatively safely across vast distances and communicate with diverse populations. The Apostle Paul took full advantage of this, making multiple missionary journeys throughout Asia Minor, Greece, and eventually to Rome itself. Paul's strategy was the persecution that Christians faced, paradoxically, helped spread the faith rather than suppress it. When persecution broke out in one area, Christians would flee to other regions, taking their faith with them. The famous saying attributed to the early Christian writer Tertullian that the blood of martyrs is the seed of the church proved remarkably true. Public executions of Christians were meant to intimidate others into renouncing the faith, but they often had the opposite effect. When crowds watched Christians face death with courage, singing hymns and praying for their executioners, it raised profound questions. What kind of faith could give people such fearlessness in the face of death? Many who came to mock stayed to believe. The martyrdom account. As Christianity grew, it also developed a sophisticated intellectual tradition that helped it compete in the marketplace of ideas. Early Christian apologists like Justin Martyr and Origen engaged with Greek philosophy, showing that Christian theology could hold its own against the best pagan thinkers. They argued that Christianity wasn't just for the uneducated masses, but offered a coherent worldview that could satisfy both the heart and the mind. The doctrine of the Logos, or divine word, allowed Christians to connect with concepts familiar to Greek philosophers while maintaining their distinctive beliefs. The conversion of emperors. This imperial endorsement was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it allowed Christianity to spread rapidly throughout the empire with official support. Churches were built in every major city. The clergy gained social prestige and political influence. Christian intellectuals had access to resources and education. On the other hand, it meant that Christianity became entangled with political power in ways that sometimes corrupted its original message. People converted for career advancement rather than genuine conviction. The church began to use state power to suppress heretics and pagans, sometimes through violence. But even with The fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century could have been catastrophic for Christianity, but instead it demonstrated the faith's resilience. As Roman political structures crumbled under barbarian invasions, the Church became the primary institution providing continuity, education, and social services. Monasteries preserved classical learning through the Dark Ages. Monks copied manuscripts by hand, saving countless ancient texts from destruction. The Church provided a common cultural and linguistic framework across Europe through Latin and shared liturgical practices. The conversion of various barbarian tribes was crucial to Christianity's survival and expansion in Europe. The Franks, Goths, Vandals, and other Germanic peoples who had conquered Roman territories gradually adopted Christianity. Sometimes this happened through the conversion of a king, whose subjects would follow. Clovis, king of the Franks, converted around 500, and his kingdom became a major power that supported the Church. The Anglo-Saxons in Britain were evangelized by missionaries sent by Pope Gregory the Great at the end of the 6th century. Ireland, which had never been part of the Roman Empire, was Christianized through the work of missionaries like Patrick, and Irish monks later played a crucial role in re-evangelizing parts of Europe. The spread of Christianity. The Great Schism of 1054, which split the Church into Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic branches, actually helped spread Christianity by creating two powerful missionary engines. The Orthodox Church spread Christianity throughout Eastern Europe and Russia. Saints Cyril and Methodius created the Cyrillic alphabet specifically to translate Christian scriptures into Slavic languages. The Russian state eventually saw itself as the Third Rome, the true heir of Christian civilization after the fall of Constantinople. Meanwhile, the Roman Catholic Church dominated Western Europe and sent missionaries throughout the world. The Crusades. The medieval period saw Christianity deeply embedded in European culture. The Church was the primary provider of education, healthcare, and social services. Universities were founded as Christian institutions. Magnificent cathedrals were built that still stand today as testimonies to medieval faith and craftsmanship. The church calendar structured daily life. Religious art, music, and literature flourished. For a peasant in medieval Europe, Christianity wasn't just a religion, but the framework for understanding all of reality. The Protestant Reformation. The age of European colonization and exploration brought Christianity to the Americas, Africa, and Asia on an unprecedented scale. When Columbus reached the Americas in 1492, he brought not just Spanish political power, but also Catholic missionaries. Within a few generations, most of Central and South America had been Christianized, though often through methods that mixed genuine evangelization with forced conversion and cultural destruction. The Spanish and Portuguese established vast colonial empires in which the Church played a central role. In North America, European colonization of Africa and Asia brought Christianity to regions where it had been absent or present only in small communities. Catholic missionaries like Francis Xavier reached Japan and India. Protestant missionaries followed in later centuries. The missionary movement of the 19th and 20th centuries saw thousands of Christians from Europe and North America dedicating their lives to spreading the faith in foreign lands. They built schools, hospitals, and churches. They translated the Bible into hundreds of languages. They often learned local languages and cultures in depth. This missionary expansion. Despite these complications, Christianity took root in Africa, Asia, and Latin America in ways that have outlasted colonialism itself. Today, the majority of Christians live in the global South rather than in Europe or North America. African Christianity is vibrant and growing rapidly. South Korea has a large and active Christian population. Christianity has spread throughout the Pacific Islands. Brazil has the largest Catholic population in the world. The Philippines is the most Christian nation in Asia. Several factors. Christianity has also shown remarkable ability to adapt to different political systems and social structures. It has survived and even thrived under Roman emperors, medieval monarchs, modern democracies, communist dictatorships, and military regimes. It has taken root in honor-shame cultures, guilt-innocence cultures, and fear-power cultures. It has adapted to tribal societies, feudal systems, and industrial capitalism. This adaptability comes partly from the fact that Jesus himself never established a detailed political or economic system. He focused on spiritual truths and moral principles that can be applied in different contexts. The emphasis on Christian social services and healthcare have also attracted people to the faith. Hospitals, orphanages, and schools founded by Christian missionaries often provided the first modern healthcare and education available in many regions. When people experienced compassionate care in the name of Christ, it made the Christian message credible. This continues today, with Christian organizations operating hospitals, relief agencies, and development programs throughout the world. The 20th century Pentecostalism and charismatic Christianity emerged in the 20th century as dynamic forces for Christian expansion. These movements emphasized personal religious experience, healing, and the work of the Holy Spirit. They proved extremely attractive in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Megachurches and prosperity gospel movements, while controversial, have reached millions of people. Indigenous Christian movements led by local leaders rather than Western missionaries have shown that Christianity can be truly enculturated in non-Western contexts. Modern communication technology has given Christianity new tools for spreading its message. Radio and television allowed preachers to reach mass audiences. Satellite broadcasts brought Christian programming to closed countries. The internet has made Christian resources available anywhere with connectivity. Evangelistic websites, Bible apps, and online sermons reach people who might never enter a church building. Social media allows Christians to share their faith with their networks. These technologies have accelerated the spread of Christian ideas in ways that would have been unimaginable to earlier generations. Yet Christianity remains the world's largest religion, with approximately 2.4 billion adherents, about 1/3 of humanity. It is present in every country on earth. The New Testament has been translated into over 1,500 languages, and portions of the Bible exist in over 3,000 languages. Christian churches range from ancient Orthodox liturgies to contemporary worship services, from Catholic cathedrals to Pentecostal storefront churches, from formal Reformed services to charismatic prayer meetings. Looking at this whole Christianity's journey from a small Jewish sect to the world's largest religion is a story involving conviction, sacrifice, adaptation, cultural power, and genuine spiritual transformation in individual lives. It combines divine providence, as Christians would understand it, with very human factors of social organization, political opportunity, cultural flexibility, and dedicated effort across 2,000 years. The fact that a crucified Jewish teacher from an obscure province has more followers today than any other religious figure in history remains one of the most remarkable facts of human civilization. Whether one sees this as evidence of divine blessing, historical accident, cultural imperialism, or genuine spiritual truth depends on one's perspective, but the scope and scale of Christian expansion is undeniable and unprecedented in religious history.